What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. I've got 3 more picks that I've already put down. I'm going to take you through that today. If that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Before we jump into the picks, we do have to recap what happened yesterday. Went 2-1 on the last video, so we're 5-1 over the last 2 days. VIP, however, minus 2.4 units. And pretty much what's been happening the last couple of days happened again. Straight picks were okay. Value plays, not so valuable. Got close, but didn't hit any doubles combos. Man, it's been a minute since we hit one of those. But the whole reason VIP's been down the last few days has been on all the risky parlays. It all forms part of the strategy. Once we hit some positive regression, we'll be back and killing it in no time. But let's talk about the losers, talk about the winners, and I'll take you through the picks. Miles McBride, the only loser I shared with you guys on the video yesterday, over 11.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Coach Thibodeau catfished me. The line moved in our favor. Tibbs had other plans. McBride only played 17 minutes. I think it was projected to play 25. Barely saw any time in the second half. And it makes sense. The 76ers rallied back, played very well in that second half. So the New York Knicks pretty much didn't run their bench. So at the end of the day, it was a bad read. I expected the Knicks to absolutely pound the 76ers, and that didn't happen. I also took Kelly Oubre over 5.5 boards. We got hooked on 5. He did play a ton of minutes, but he did happen to defend Jalen Brunson a lot more than I expected him to. PG has a monster rebounding game. If anything, Paul George, podcast P, got a lot of the rebounds that I expected someone like Kelly Oubre to get. Now, it felt like every single time Kelly Oubre was in the right position to rebound, Mikal Bridges hit a jump shot. It was crazy. I honestly didn't hate this bet. Honestly, if they keep Oubre's line at 5.5, it's one to definitely look out for, especially if Embiid's not in the lineup. Took Denny Avdia over 28.5 PRA. He gets injured in the first 5 minutes. He was looking motivated as hell. He was killing it. 5 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist in the first 5 minutes. Then he got injured twice. Went to the locker room twice. Didn't come back. So that sucked. Took James Harden under 26.5 points. This line moved all the way down to 23.5. Was looking great until the second half. He scores, 20-plus points in the second half? It's like James Harden from 2017 or something. He went crazy. You just kind of tip your hat off to him. Can't do anything about that. A couple of winners. DeMar DeRozan over 3.5 assists. He finishes the game with 7. Trae Young under 26.5 points. He doesn't get close. He gets wrapped up. Took Zach Collins over 17.5 points and rebounds. That was a first half cash. He was an absolute monster today. And we also took Jabari Smith over 6.5 boards. Easy money. He finishes with 10. We had a DeMar DeRozan value play at plus 275, a high value play at plus 700. Chet, we hit him for 20 points at plus 300. And Zach Collins hit a value play of him plus 200. Actually, another straight bet that I missed that I haven't put in this update. We took Chet. Oh, no, I just didn't read it. Chet Holmgren over 21.5 points and rebounds. But yeah, a couple of value plays. Zach Collins hit. So a lot of the value plays we actually cashed. Unfortunately, they didn't cash within the same combo. So we missed out a bit of profit there. Thinking about my value plays, if I'm being honest with you, I've been a little bit conservative with them. So even though they've been winning, if I was a little bit more adventurous with the ones that did win, I still would have cashed out anyway at higher odds. So I'm probably going to take a little bit more risk on those value plays. Probably won't hit more of them than I have been, but at the very least, we get a little bit more profit from the ones that we are hitting. In terms of spreads, I went 2-2, bet on the Celtics to cover. They absolutely sucked. I'm glad they lost by 20. If they only won that game by like 1 or 2, I'd be really pissed off, but part of me makes me feel a little bit better. I lost my bet, but they lost the game by a lot. OKC minus 16.5. They were just playing with their food in this game. Losing the game for the first 3 quarters, and they locked in late. Comfortable win. Portland got the -6, though, that cash. A little bit sweaty, but they pulled it off. And the Rockets, -9. They punished the Spurs. The Spurs are trending in a very bad direction right now. So happy to take the fades on them for the foreseeable future. Now, enough about the recap. Let's get into today's picks. Let's go. So jumping into Props Madness, this is the best tool you are ever going to find if you like betting on NBA player props. I encourage you guys to check it out. You get a 7-day free trial. Plus, you'll get 25% off if you use the code DARF when you happen to sign up. I've got a link for that in the video description below. Now, I've got a 5-game slate on this one, which is nice, easier to research, I would say. And I should get this video out to you more than I normally would. Now, today's 3 picks, they do have something in common. Pretty much, it's been difficult post the All-Star break. So what I've made sure to do is for the 3 picks that I'm sharing with you all today, they've got a few things in common. 1, they've all been playing very well since the All-Star break. 2, they're seeing more opportunities post the All-Star break. And 3, they all have terrific matchups to get it done. So let's get into the first one, Nuggets versus the Bucks. And I'm running it back here, going with Brolo. That's Brook Lopez. And I took him for 13.5 points and assists. A little bit juiced, but if this does move to 14.5, I would still play it there. 14.5, 13.5 for Brook Lopez. Let's talk about it. Now, Brook Lopez is projected to play 33 minutes in this game. Bobby Portis is still suspended, so Brook Lopez is going to be counted on to play a lot of big minutes. Up against the Denver Nuggets today, you got to have some big bodies out there to defend Nikola Jokic. And Brook Lopez, pretty big. I wonder who'd win in a race between Brook Lopez and Nikola Jokic. We'll see. But both not very mobile, so they can walk at a snail's pace together. Now, looking at Brook Lopez, I think the key thing to look at here is games without Bobby Portis. And without Bobby Portis in the lineup, he's hit this line in 8 out of 10 games, averaging 17.1 points and assists this season. So the hit rate on that is fantastic. Plays quite well with no Bobby Portis. We're seeing more opportunity. Now, the matchup here against Denver is a nice one when it comes to points and for assists. But I just want to show you what it looks like post All-Star break. We're really just looking at these last 4 games. Post the All-Star break, he's averaging 19.3 points and assists per game. He's playing 32.5 minutes per game post All-Star break, so it aligns to the projection here at 33. If this game stays close, it's a 3-point spread, then I'm sure he sees every minute of that 33-minute projection. So Brook Lopez going to have the opportunities, wonderful hit rate, especially since the All-Star break. Now, if we look at his ways that he scores points, Brook Lopez pretty much scores his points as a spot-up shooter, or he scores his points in the pick and roll. Outside of that, he's doing all this random shit. But in terms of his key play types, he's got a wonderful matchup. The Denver Nuggets, second most points allowed to spot-up shooters this season. And when it comes to the pick and roll man, they are in the bottom 10 in terms of points allowed to the pick and roll man. Where Brook likes to score, right under the basket and above the break, this Denver Nuggets team is slightly worse than average in limiting points in both of those areas. Another thing I like about it as well, 7 out of the last 9 players with very similar scoring profiles to Nikola Jokic, they've covered their points line 4.3 points higher than their closing line, which is absolutely delicious. So I like a Brook Lopez to score here. But now if we talk about his assists, in the 4 games post the All-Star break, he's over his assist prop in 3 out of the 4 games. All of these games without Bobby Portis. He's averaging 2 assists, and that's what we need here. But the matchup for assists here against the Denver Nuggets doesn't get much easier than this. The Denver Nuggets do allow the most assists per game. 14 out of the last 15 similar type of players have gone over their assist prop. And if we just look at this assist map here, Brook Lopez gets a lot of his assists in the restricted area, in the mid-range, and above the break. So he's not the person finding you in the corners. And if we look at the Denver Nuggets, they're pretty much awful in terms of assists allowed in all 3 of those spots on the floor. So I'm adding the assists on top of Brook Lopez points prop. I think there's a really good edge there. The pivot here is if you don't want to, well, maybe it would be sweaty, but you can take him for over 1.5 assists if you want to, you know what I'm saying? But Brook Lopez, I think that's a good look. If you want a value play, I'd take him over points, over assists. The assist prop's great odds. The points prop at 11.5 is not. So you'll probably get about plus 210, 220, something like that. But at the end of the day, bit of value there on Brook Lopez. I think he can cover both prop lines. The next pick I'm going to take you through. Well, we're going to go this Pelicans versus the Phoenix Suns. And I'm rolling with Bradley Beal today. I've loved what I've been seeing from Bradley Beal. I think I've only bet on him once post the All-Star break. But he's been cashing out like an absolute demon. Bradley Beal's projected to play 36 minutes in this game. And if we look at his games post the All-Star break, we can see here, he's averaging 24.5 points per game. He's playing 38 minutes, so he's back in the starting lineup. He's projected to play 36. If this game goes to OT, he can go a little bit longer. But it's a 7-point spread, believe it or not. The Pels 7-point underdogs. But the Phoenix Suns have been absolutely disgusting. Like, in what world do the Pelicans not cover in this game? But hopefully they keep this game close. Bradley Beal sees a ton of his minutes. And one thing I've noticed from watching the Phoenix Suns, a lot of these guys seem to be a little bit checked out. Like KD is clearly checked out. He doesn't give a shit anymore. Devin Booker is quietly balling, but not doing too much. But Bradley Beal, he's hauling ass out there. Like, he's putting in a lot of effort. I get he's probably the odd man out, and he was for most of this season, but he's playing hard on both ends of the floor. I like what I've seen from Bradley Beal, and I think he's going to deliver today. 18.5 points. I think he can definitely cover that. Now, post the All-Star break, what I did notice, he's got a 22% usage rate, and he's attempting 17 field goal attempts per game. So the volume is there, the minutes is there. And then I looked at his season data, and if we look at his season data and we just focus in on field goal attempts, now he is averaging 17 per game post the All-Star break, but even if we look at games where he takes between 15 and 19 shots, which is, I think, is a very reasonable number here against the Pelicans, should be a somewhat fast-paced game. Game totals at 236. When he takes between 15 and 19 shots, he's over this line in 10 out of 13 games, averaging 22.5 points per game. And if you look at his play type, you can see he scores a lot of his points through the spot up. The Pelicans, one of the worst spot up defenses in the league in terms of where Bradley Beal likes to score, in the restricted area and above the break. And the Pelicans, second most points allowed in the restricted area, and they're bottom 10 in terms of points above the break. So it's all checking the right boxes. The matchup is great. His post All-Star break form is fantastic. He's seeing a lot of minutes and opportunities. So I'm rolling with Bradley Beal today. Now, the last pick I've got for you is in this Wolves versus the Lakers game, and I'm not betting unders on LeBron James as much as I would love to. I'm taking Jaden McDaniels, and I'm taking him for over his PRA, 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Jaden McDaniels. Now, he's projected to play 38 minutes tonight. It's the most minutes for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And part of the reason for that is Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert are out. So these are the games without them. 3 of these games are post All-Star break. And we can see he's covered this line in all 4 games. 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists per game. In terms of matchup, he's had some really awful matchup. 3 games against OKC and a game against the Houston Rockets. Like, great defensive teams. The Lakers have improved defensively, but I wouldn't say they're at the level of the other 2 teams. So you could argue he's got a softer matchup today. But also, have I got few on Jaden McDaniels? He's also likely to pick up Luka Doncic defensively, which means his minutes are somewhat locked in. He'll play at least 35, even though he's projected close to 40. If Luka's on there, I think Jaden McDaniels is going to be on the court as well. He's got a great matchup to score points. The Lakers leak points in transition, especially after the All-Star break. They've been leaking a ton of catch-and-shoot opportunities. Now, one thing to call out here, Jaden McDaniels has been balling post this All-Star break or without Julius Randle and Gobert. And what's amazing to see here, if I look at his game-by-game breakdown and I look at how he's been shooting, he's 2 from 13 from deep. So if we see any positive regression in terms of Jaden McDaniels shooting the ball, then he should be able to cover this sweat-free. In terms of his points prop alone, he's covered this in every single game. His assist prop, he's covered it in 3 out of 4. And his rebound prop, he's covered it in 2 out of the 4 games, but he is averaging 8.8 boards. Did have a softer matchup here against OKC, really targeted them. And the Lakers, probably lacking some size, you could say. But not really. But the Lakers, they don't really crash the offensive glass too much. So Jaden McDaniels should get some uncontested defensive rebounds. I'm just rolling with the PRA there for Jaden McDaniels. I think he can do it all. And if he makes a couple of 3-pointers, I think this is going to be easy money for Jaden McDaniels. So those are the 3 that I got for you. Pumping the brakes as we always do. I ask you to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've got one lean that I want to share with you. There's only one other bet that I strongly considered that I didn't take. I'll take you through that. If you do like it, you can add it to your slips. I'll also remind you guys, I do have a free Discord. The link for that's always in the video description. You can join, talk trash about not your favorite players, but talk trash about whoever's losing your money. But you can also flex on everybody and show everyone your wins. And it's a great way to get in contact with me. If you ever wanted to have a chat, answer a few questions, Discord is probably the best place to do it. So the link for that is in the video description below. And one last thing, I almost forgot. I just want to give a shout out to my man, Stefan. You know who you are. And I also wanted to thank a lot of the people who are reaching out to me. I'm getting some wonderful emails, Discord messages, completely supportive. The community that we got here, fantastic. You guys are doing it the right way. Difficult times, I get it, but a lot of you guys have a lot of hope and faith that we're going to break out of this. So hopefully we can maintain this run. 5-1 over the last 2 days. Hopefully we're 8-1 by the end of this slate. But let me take you through that last lean and I'll get the hell out of here. Let's go. All right, so the lean that I was looking at, no surprise, happens to be an under. I always tend to lean more on unders than bet them, but let me talk you through it. So I was looking at an under for 9.5 points here for Buddy Hield. How I got here is I actually loved his under 2.53 pointers. But the odds for that are absolutely disgusting. The best you could find is at minus 145. I ain't interested in that. So looking at under 9.5 points for Buddy Hield, though. And what's the script here? So he's projected to play 19 minutes in this game off the bench. If we look at similar types of matchups, because this matchup here is absolutely disgusting for him. Orlando, good defensively at everything that Buddy does. They're good at limiting points in transition. They're the best team at limiting points at spot up. They're the best team at limiting points above the break. So the matchup absolutely stinks. So for Buddy Hield, I want to just look at some minutes here. We'll filter this to 17 to 22, just like that. So even if you just look at the minutes, he's only over this in 8 out of 24 games. Then you start to make things a little difficult. Let's just remove the worst 10 teams in all these major filters. Even though Orlando is one of the best, I don't want to absolutely shrink the sample size here. So in more difficult matchups, when he plays 17 to 22 minutes, he's only over this line in 3 out of 12 games, averaging 6.4 points per game. His overs against Dallas, Minnesota, and the Lakers. And in all these games, he played 21 minutes. So he played a little bit higher than he's projected to play today. He also happened to shoot the ball a lot. So the volume is pretty decent, 9, 9, and 13. But if we look as of late, what's the volume been like? Let's say since Jimmy Butler's been here, it's been okay in easy matchups. Charlotte, the Kings, the Bucks, and the Bulls. All great matchups if you like scoring from the perimeter. This Orlando team is an awful matchup for Buddy Hield. So he also played the Orlando Magic not too long ago. Start of February, he played 19 minutes, pretty much what he's expected to play. Only scored 4 points and only took 4 attempts in that game. And I think we could see a repeat of that, but 9.5 points, that can be scored very quickly. And it's also an under, and I'm a little bit of a coward when it comes to that. So that's the only reason I didn't play it. I honestly do think it's a pretty good look, but we'll see. As always, for those who subscribe to me on Winnable, I'll do a deeper dive throughout the night. When I wake up in the morning, I'll dive again, look at some lineups, see who's confirmed, who isn't. And, projections do become a little bit more reliable closer to the game as well. So I have another set or 2 when it comes to picks. It's a 5-game slate. I'll probably have another 3 to 5 picks coming out. And I'll also send you guys some stuff and some spreads as well if you're interested in that. But I do wish you guys the best of luck. I hope you green out on this wonderful day. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.